All right, what's up, everyone? I'm Faloki, and a few days ago, Jamal Adams had a little press conference with people in the Seahawks media, and there were some pretty interesting parts of it, and today I wanted to talk about those a little bit. Before that, though, I just wanted to say a few things. One, thank you to everyone who showed up to my birthday stream. That was absolutely amazing. You know, there were some technical difficulties, and it was all because of one setting, one very important setting that I forgot to change. And in the software that I use, OBS, there is different settings for recording and streaming. I guess I had changed the settings correctly for recording, but I actually never changed for streaming. I thought I had, and that's not an excuse. It's just I'm just dumb. And yeah, that basically messed up the whole thing. But I have changed that setting. I'm going to continue to do some testing before I stream the next time. And yeah, so just thank you to everyone who showed up. It wasn't that great, and there was a lot of problems with it, but I will have it fixed before next time. And I just wanted to say thank you. And while I'm on the topic of the stream, there was a thing that I wanted to do on the stream. I wanted to do a hair reveal for 2000 because I've worn a hoodie this whole time, and I didn't get to do that because the stream was really messed up because of this technical issue that I had. And since I couldn't do it on stream, today I decided that I wanted to just do a little bit of a hair reveal. It's nothing crazy. It's not like a face reveal, so I don't need a whole video for it. Just a nice little hair reveal. And so let's go. I wear the hood, and now, boom, there you go. Nothing's really changed, but if I do a nice little turn, you can see I got some pretty long hair. I don't know if you could see it, but hopefully you could. I got some pretty long hair. Maybe I'll do a video letting my luscious locks flow, but today, let's just keep it managed. And for anyone wondering, long hair, I just think it's the smarter option, for people that like to keep their hair like in the middle ground of like short and long. Obviously, like people that keep it really short and they can just like take a clipper and just like shave it all the way down. Good for them. I mean, I couldn't pull that off, but it's probably really easy. And I'm kind of in the middle ground of easy. The sides, they can stay short to make it look better. But if you do, not get a haircut for like a couple months, it's not going to kill you because the top is supposed to be long. Letting it grow out is not a problem. It's just the sides. Sometimes the sides get a little bit crazy, but it's all right. It's just the people in the middle where you kind of have to cut your hair every few weeks for it to actually look half decent. I tried to do that for a while and I just gave up. I just gave up with it, and I just started to let my hair grow, and then I turned it into something relatively decent. But yeah, this is what I wanted to do on stream, but I couldn't do it, and because of the technical issues. But here you go. Look at that. I got long hair. I do. I got hair, and I'm still gonna wear hoodies because I love hoodies. Hoodies are super comfortable. I've worn them my whole life basically because they're just amazing. But maybe I'll let my hair loose a couple videos. And one final thing before we get into the video, as you can see, I'm wearing headphones. And as you can see, if you didn't watch my birthday video, new mic, just let me know in the comments what you think of it. I'm wearing these headphones so I can hear it myself. Let me know what you think in the comments. I got a little bit of feedback in the last video, so, since there will probably be more people seeing this video, let me know in the comments what you think of the audio quality. Do you like the new microphone? Let me know, and let's just get right into the video. Jamal Adams had an online press conference with Seahawks media on July 30th, and it was 40 minutes long. He answered a lot of questions. He had a lot of great responses. And today I picked out 4 of the most important things, in my opinion, that he said. And I want to give you the full thing that he said so that you can understand exactly what he said. And then I want to give my thoughts on it. So, let's not waste any time because this is probably going to be a long video anyway. And let's just get right into this.
But to answer your question, man, I'm excited. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to be a Seattle Seahawk. When I got the call, honestly, I broke down in tears of joy, a lot of mixed emotions. I'm going to miss a lot of guys over there. But at the end of the day, man, this is my calling. This is where I need to be. And this is where I was placed to be. Friday, I'll never forget, the day before I got traded, I was really stressed. I went out with my family and some of my loved ones and my brothers. And, they could see it on my face how stressed I was because I didn't know where I was going to go come Tuesday. And, I prayed on it. I prayed on it hard. And I asked God, to place me where I needed to be, whether that was to go back to New York or whether that's to be traded. And this is my calling, man. I'm here to stay. And I'm excited to be a Seattle Seahawk, like I said. And I'm really overwhelmed. But at the same time, man, it's so surreal to be around a great organization like Seattle. And to be coached by legendary coaches, Hall of Fame coaches, playing with Hall of Famers, from Russ to Bobby, KJ, Bruce Irvin, Quandre Diggs. The list goes on and on, man. I'm just excited to be here. I'm here to help, and I can't wait to get out there in front of the 12s, man.
All right, so as you can see from that, it sounds like Jamal Adams is pretty excited to be on the Seahawks. Obviously, he could just have come in here. He knows it's going to be Seattle Seahawks, media people. So he could have came in and just been saying all the right things to please them, and maybe he doesn't believe this at all. But I have no reason to believe that he wouldn't actually think this, because, he hasn't shown any reason for me to not believe that he enjoys being in Seattle so far. So I'm just going to go by what he says. I'm not going to try to cherry pick anything and say, oh, maybe he doesn't think this, but it does sound like he's pretty excited to be in Seattle. It doesn't sound like he's really kind of saying what he's been told. It doesn't sound like he's like coming from a script or anything, because he seems pretty genuine. He seems like he's excited to be coached by someone as great as Pete Carroll. Obviously, Pete Carroll's done very well in his time in Seattle, and he seems excited to play with great players like Bobby Wagner, Russell Wilson, and Quandre Diggs, who he answered a whole question on, and that's actually later on in this video. I thought that was pretty interesting. And he seems very excited to be here, and he said that he wants to be here for a while, and I mean that does sound like some good stuff. And honestly, like I said, this could be just him saying all the right things, but I'm gonna take his word for it. He seems excited to be in Seattle, and I'm glad that he's excited, because it seems like Jamal Adams, to me, is a player who wants to be on a successful team. Obviously, the Jets weren't very successful while he was on the Jets, and he's a great player. It's kind of like LeBron on the Cavaliers. LeBron's not gonna waste his entire career with a bad team and waste how good he is and not find any team success. So it seems like Jamal Adams wants to actually be on a team that is going to be successful, and I think Seattle has a good potential to be successful. They've been successful before, and he mentions that a lot in this press conference. I don't think I have many of the times that he's mentioned it, but he did mention it a lot throughout the entirety of the press conference, that Seattle has been to a Super Bowl. They've been to multiple Super Bowls. They've won a Super Bowl, and they seem like they have a pretty good chance of going back, and he's excited to be a part of that. And I'm just glad that he's here. Maybe we gave up a bit too much, but I think Jamal Adams, if he can be a good locker room person, if he can be fine off the field, he's obviously going to be good on the field. And with a great secondary and a great defense around him, and just a great team in general, in my opinion, I think that he has a good chance of doing very well. And I'm pretty excited for Jamal Adams to be on this team. Now on to the second clip that I think is pretty interesting from the Jamal Adams press conference. Before this, he was asked about kind of his future and his plan about the contract, and if he plans on playing after his contract for Seattle. And he kind of deflected it, saying, all that'll work itself out. I'm not too worried about that. But then he was asked once again, as you'll hear in this video, that he was asked about his kind of future in Seattle and with the contract, and he said this, and I think this is pretty interesting.
And when you say it sounds like you're sort of deflecting any question, I guess, about your contract and stuff like that. But you view this as a place you could stay for the next decade.
Absolutely, man. Oh man, if the plan is to retire here, you know what I mean? That is my plan. But obviously, those things handle themselves. When all you have to do is just go on the field and perform, do the right things on and off the field, and those things will take care of itself, man. So I'm very excited to be here. I know the rest of the guys is, excited to have me, and the coaching staff and everybody else. So again, man, we'll worry about that when the time comes.
All right.
So you heard it there, man. He said the plan is to retire in Seattle. Now, I don't want to get my hopes up, but that does sound like, some pretty good stuff. Obviously, like I said, he can definitely just be playing into the narrative. He can just be saying all the right things. He can just be trying to be like, hey, I want to retire in Seattle. Look at me, haha, and then just go to another team after the 2 years I think he has left. I think he has 1 year left, and then he has his 5th year option. But I don't know. It really all depends. I think Jamal Adams, he probably does want to stay in Seattle. I mean, Seattle is a great team. They're consistently good. They have a very good coach in Pete Carroll. They have Russell Wilson, who's going to be on the team for probably the next decade, because quarterbacks, they're just staying. Their careers are just getting longer and longer. With Tom Brady, what is he, like 42? I think Russell Wilson's going to be there for a long time. So as long as Russell Wilson's there, I think the Seahawks are going to be pretty successful. And, Jamal Adams, he's going to be a great player for a long time. And, Bobby Wagner, he might be in the last few years of his career there, but I think in general, the team is relatively young. There's a lot of good players that can continue to progress. Obviously, Shaquille Griffin is going to be a premier corner in my opinion. I think he has a lot of room to grow. And, I think the team will continue to just stay good and maybe even get better over the next decade. And, Jamal Adams, as soon as he was asked the question about, hey, is this a team that you could be here for the next decade? He was absolutely, like, he was immediately, didn't even think about it. He said absolutely. And he seemed like he was pretty genuine with it. Obviously, I've said it multiple times. He could just be playing up and just saying all the right things, but he seems relatively genuine, and I have no reason to not believe him when he says these kind of things. So honestly, I'm pretty hopeful for this. I don't want to get my hopes up too high because obviously saying that, hey, I want to retire in this place, it doesn't mean anything, because there are players that get drafted by a team. They say, I want to stay on this team for my entire career because they drafted me, but it doesn't happen a lot of the time. So I'm not going to get my hopes up too high, but it does seem pretty genuine. He seemed pretty excited about the opportunity, and I think that's pretty good. Now for this next clip, obviously when Jamal Adams demanded a trade, when the reports came out that Jamal Adams wanted to be traded from the Jets, there was also a list of, I believe, 6 teams that he would be willing to be traded to, where he wanted to be traded to, and obviously the Seahawks were on that list. And, in this clip, he was asked about why he picked the Seattle Seahawks, and basically this is what he had to say.
Jamal, how's it going? Welcome to Seattle. I know there was a report that when you requested a trade, there was a list of teams that you had on your desired list. I'm just wondering why the Seahawks were one of those teams.
Why not? You know what I mean? That the teams that were on there were, and this is not taken away from other teams out there. I just thought this was the best. These were the teams that were the best fit for me. You know what I mean? I have a lot of respect around the league for a lot of teams and coaches, a lot of players as well. And I just felt like, Seattle was a first-class organization from top to bottom. When you think about coming into a situation like this, as far as being drafted into an organization with Russell, with Bobby Wagner on the other side, Bruce Irvin, so many guys that came before us or that's still here, KJ, man, these guys have done it and they've seen it all. They've been in the big dance. They won the big dance. And that's what it's about, man. Just being around a lot of Hall of Famers, a lot of potential Hall of Famers, and a lot of great football players. But not only that, just great guys. You know what I mean? Having a great locker room, that brotherhood that they talk about over here, that's what it's about, man. So I knew Seattle was definitely the perfect spot for me. I just couldn't come out and say it. So I'm excited to be here, man.
A lot of people, I'm sure, have seen you on the field, but what type of personality are you bringing into the Seahawks locker room?
A lot of fun and juice, man. A lot of energy. I'm a fun guy. But when it comes down to ball, we're talking ball, and we're going to get down to business. But I'm a jokester, man. I like to have fun. Like I said, I love great guys. I love guys that, have relationships off the field that are doing special things in the community, marketing wise, like Bobby and Russ. Those are 2 guys that I plan to learn from, and hopefully, get some nuggets from those guys as far as what they do off the field, man, because it's unbelievable how they're killing the game right now, and I salute them.
Thanks, Jamal.
All right, so a bit of a double header there. I left in the follow-up question because I thought that was a pretty important question as well, basically saying, what does he bring to the locker room? And obviously, he's just going to say good things. He's not going to say, oh, I'm going to be a locker room problem. And, I've heard a lot of things from Jets fans, like after this trade. They basically said he's horrible in the locker room. He's going to, ruin the team. He's going to just destroy the team from the inside. But, I don't know. I mean, I think it's completely 2 different situations. Any great player on a bad team, he's probably going to be upset. And, I'm not a fan of the Jets, obviously. And I didn't watch too many Jets games. But I could assume the Jets didn't play too well. They had Sam Darnold throwing picks, being scared of ghosts on the field. And, it's just they weren't a great team. They weren't very successful. And obviously, if you're Jamal Adams and you're like, man, I'm a top safety in this league. I am one of the top players in this league, and I'm on the Jets, and I am having the first 3 years of my career wasted on a horrible team who isn't going anywhere. I'd be pretty upset too. So, maybe he caused some locker room problems with the Jets. We'll have to see if he causes locker room problems for the Seahawks. I would hope he doesn't. I mean, he's going to be on a successful team. He has sounded from basically this entire press conference like he wants to just be a part of the team. He doesn't want to be the focus point of the team. He wants to be a helping part of the team to go to the Super Bowl. Obviously, he could just be saying the right things. I think he won't just be like, "Hey, I'm just going to be a helpful part," because I don't think I left it in, but I think he said sometime in this press conference that he's not guaranteed a starting role. Obviously, he is. He's one of the best safeties in the league. He's going to be guaranteed to get that starting role this year, but he'll probably play a bigger role than he's saying that he will. He's been saying basically he's just going to be a helping part. He's not going to be a star of this team. Obviously, he's going to be a star. He's going to be a focus point of this team's defense. But I think he'll probably fit well with the team. Since there's a lot of great players, he'll just add to that greatness on the defense. You have Quandre Diggs, you have Shaquille Griffin, Trey Flowers could be all right. Ugo Amadi, he shows some promise. You have Bobby Wagner, KJ Wright, Bruce Irvin. You have great players around you. He's just going to make it all better, because those players would have done fine with like a Bradley McDougal, and the team would have done well. But with a Jamal Adams who can be a star, instead of a good player, you can have a great player or an amazing player. He's just going to add to that, and he's just going to play very well. And the first part of the question, where he basically said, why not go to Seattle? Seattle's a great organization. Why wouldn't I want to go? That's what I was saying when it first kind of got announced that he was, he had a list where the Seattle Seahawks were on there. Like, it's a great team. It would be a great fit. It's not like it's just another team for him to go to that's not going to make the playoffs. The Seahawks are consistently good. They're consistently, in the running for the playoffs. But, they have Russell Wilson. I think anytime that Russell Wilson is on the field, they're going to have a chance for success. They have Bobby Wagner, one of the best defensive players in the entire NFL. They have, a very good secondary that's pretty underrated, but I think that they could be very good. And he would have been a great fit. He said that himself. He thinks he could have been a great fit in Seattle, and he could have been a good fit with the other teams. And, I respect that 100%. He got traded to Seattle. He seems like he's happy to be here. And I'm glad he is here. I'm glad he's with Seattle. And now for the fourth and final clip of this Jamal Adams press conference. This is basically just talking about his relationship with Quandre Diggs. And I think this is pretty important because obviously those are going to be the safety duos. It's going to be Jamal Adams and Quandre Diggs. And it sounds like they have a great relationship. And obviously he speaks on it here. And I think that's a very important part of the possible success that they could have together in 2020.
It's good, Jamal. We talked a little bit about, knowing Bobby for a little bit. What's your relationship like with Quandre?
Oh man, Quandre, man, I've known Quandre. If you honestly go on Google, you might see a picture of a guy like with no facial hair, and he's young. He's probably about, I want to say 17. I was going to the University of Texas, obviously looking for the school I wanted to go to, and Quandre was there. I was always, I admired him and Kenny Vaccaro, the guys that came before me, Earl, all those guys that was there, Coach Akina. The history of defensive backs was really in Texas, right? And Quandre wanted me to come very, very bad. He was my host. Believe it or not, he was my host. We had a great time on 6th Street. I'll never forget it. We had a great time, man. And me and Quandre, have been close ever since. Even when he was in Detroit, we talked literally every day. He would hit me up and say, man, I like that play you made, or I'll hit him and say, man, you balling out there, or whatever it is. We always talk, and he's like a brother to me. And we've known each other for a very long time. And we always talked about, man, what if we play together, man? And I'll never forget when he got traded to Seattle, I tweeted him, but I did call him, and I said, man, listen, because he was in the airport. And I said, man, you went to a hell of an organization. He was like, man, I know, man. And then he started balling, had the picks and whatnot. And then look where we are now. You know what I mean? He was one of the first people that I called when I did find out that I got traded. I'll be lying to you if it was Saturday and my agent was like, man, don't tell anybody like that you're getting traded to Seattle. And I was like, all right. Then I called Quandre. I said, man, it might come through. It might go through. So I was excited, man. And Quandre, I was like, man, I'm gonna hit you after my massage, man, if it goes through. He was like, man, this is a long massage. I said, man, I haven't heard anything yet. We're waiting on Mr. Snyder to go through with the paperwork. So when it finally happened, man, he called me. He was excited. I was excited, man. And man, I'm excited to play with him, man. I tell you, man, we were chopping it up yesterday after meetings, and he was like, I was already telling him, man, no, you stay in the post right there, man. if it's an over route, man, I got it, man. Don't even worry about it, man. We're going to get under the hook. We're going to take away this. So we're just talking ball, man. And he loves ball. I love ball, and we're very passionate about it. So I'm excited to play with him.
And so, yeah, I mean, honestly, I just wanted to throw this in because, I mean, it's not super important to the entirety of the Jamal Adams trade, but I think it's really important for how Jamal Adams can actually play when he actually, you know, starts playing in the season. Because obviously Quandre Diggs is the second safety there. He's the safety that's going to be playing alongside Jamal Adams, and it sounds like they have a lot of chemistry. They've known each other for a long time, and obviously chemistry is something that's very important if you're going to be playing with someone, because he spoke on it a little bit like, hey, if there's a post and there's a whatever, you know, all you got this, I got this, and this is what we'll do in game, you know, having that chemistry to know what to do in a game time situation, not just, oh, this is what we learned in practice. You do this, I do this. If it goes the other way, well, then what happens? Now that they have chemistry where they kind of, you know, can play off of each other, I think that could be a very important thing in having them be successful together in the secondary, because, you know, safeties are a big part of any defense. You know, the safety is basically the last line of defense, obviously. And if they're going to be they're going to be working well together and, you know, gelling and having a good chemistry, knowing what each other is going to do and being able to play off of each other and make the right plays based on knowing what the other player is going to do and like working with them for so long. I mean, I think that can lead to a very successful, you know, safety duo between Quandre Diggs and Jamal Adams. And, you know, that was just in this question, basically Jamal Adams just reiterated once again that he was very excited to get traded to the Seattle Seahawks. And honestly, it's not as important to the entire thing, but I think chemistry is going to be very important. I think Jamal Adams and Quandre Diggs, it sounds like they have a great bond, and I'm very excited to see them on the field together. I think that they can be probably one of the best duos for safeties in the entire NFL. I don't know if they'll be the best, but it sounds like, you know, Quandre Diggs, he's very good in coverage. Jamal Adams is a very good all-around player, and, you know, I just can't wait for the season. And you know, this is the last thing of the video. This is the last clip, but he did mention Bobby Wagner. You've probably seen it everywhere. He talked about Bobby Wagner, how he looks up to Bobby Wagner. He was talking a couple years ago with Bobby Wagner, how they could possibly play together. And you know, I think that just in general, I think that there is going to be a very good mesh between all the players on the defense with Jamal Adams. You know, Quandre Diggs and Jamal Adams, very good chemistry. Bobby Wagner and Jamal Adams, probably pretty good chemistry since they're both with Jordan, I believe. And, you know, just in general, there's a really good secondary. Jamal Adams is just gonna add to that. And Jamal Adams can even help in the pass rush a bit. So, you know, overall, this is probably going to be the last video I do on Jamal Adams. You know, I've done a lot of Jamal Adams videos since the trade. And, you know, I kind of want to stop just because, you know, it's kind of done with. It's been a real big talking point for the last, like, few, you know, days or whatever week since it happened. And, you know, it's been fun. You know, I'm still excited about it. I still am enjoying making the videos about it, but, you know, you got to move on, and I'm going to try to move on, try to stop making videos on it unless something big comes out again on it. This is probably going to be the last video on the Jamal Adams situation, but you know, I'm glad it happened. I'm glad that the trade happened. You know, maybe we gave up a bit too much. You know, 2 firsts is a lot to give up for anyone, and you know, I think Jamal Adams is a great player. You know, I'm pretty sure Pete Carroll said something about it where he basically said, we haven't drafted in the top 25 in the past 10 years. So they had no chance of getting a great safety like they got, you know, Earl Thomas or something. So, you know, it is definitely true that, you know, the Seahawks, they're never going to be a top 10 drafting team. They're always going to be in playoff contention because they have such great players and such a great team and such a great coach. You know, I'm not too hurt by giving up these picks. Obviously, we gave up a ton. The Jets got a lot in return for Jamal Adams, and I think it's a win for both sides, and I'm just glad that the trade happened. Just in general, you know, a lot of people see it as a desperation move, but I don't think the Seahawks are desperate. I mean, if you saw the Seahawks team and you saw, you know, how good their secondary was before the Jamal Adams trade, I don't think that they had to be desperate. I think that they just made this because they thought they could make a big move that can help them in the future. Maybe they give up 2 years of a first round pick that's going to be 25 or higher, you know. So, you know, it's not like they're giving up number 2 picks for the next 2 years. I mean, maybe they possibly could be, but I don't think they will be. I think the Seahawks will probably be in Super Bowl contention throughout these next few years while those first round picks are given up. So I don't think it's going to hurt them too much. The Seahawks are a great late round pick team, And, you know, I'm excited that this happened. This is going to be the last time I talk about it. But let me know in the comments what you think of, you know, Jamal Adams' responses. Obviously, he could just be playing it up. He could be saying all the right things just to make everyone happy. And he could completely ruin the team. But I do believe that this seems pretty genuine from Jamal Adams. It seemed like he was genuinely happy to be and excited to be a Seattle Seahawk. And I'm glad to see that. I'm very happy as a Seahawks fan that Jamal Adams seems like he was excited to be here. He's not kind of just saying, you know, hey, I'm ready to work. I'm here now. I got traded. I'm ready to work for my new team. He sounds like, man, I wanted to be in Seattle. I'm in Seattle now. I'm excited. There are a lot of great players around me. And, you know, I'm glad to see this. You know, let me know in the comments what you think. I think this is a great thing. And, you know, like the video if you enjoyed. Subscribe to my second channel. There's going to be a video today as well at 10 a.m. if you have already seen this. 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time if you're watching this when it first comes out. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching. You know, follow me on Twitch, actually. You know, next stream isn't going to be broken. Yeah, thanks for watching. Have a great day.